Hi friends, thanks for joining Stay Connected. Have you ever had any delays in life? There's a lot of delays that can happen. A lot of people are having delays with flights and having to wait. Tonight we're talking about divine delays. Delays can be very frustrating. They can cause anger and disappointment. In John, Lazarus had died, and in John 11 it says, "Now Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, 'Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now, I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you.' And Jesus said to her, 'Your brother will rise again.'" There was a delay in Jesus' coming, and we know the purpose was that Jesus, in front of everyone that was there, would raise Lazarus from the dead, increasing everyone's faith. And sometimes delays are not easy to deal with. In the book of Daniel, chapter 10, Daniel had been praying about some future things happening. And in verse 8 it says, "Therefore I was left alone, and when I saw this great vision, no strength remained in me, for my vigor was turned to frailty in me, and I retained no strength." He was tired. He had poured it all out in his time of prayer. There was no strength in him left. And yet I heard the sound of his words, and while I heard the sound of his words, I was deep in sleep on my face, with my face to the ground, just exhausted. He was praying. He hadn't heard a response. There was a delay. And then we know what happened. It says, "Suddenly a hand touched me, which made me tremble on my knees and on the palm of my hands. And the voice said to him, 'O Daniel, man greatly beloved, understand these words that I speak to you now, and stand upright, for I have now been sent to you.' While he was speaking the word to me, I stood trembling," Daniel said. "Then he said to me, 'Don't be afraid, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before God, your words were heard. And I have come because of your words.'" Verse 13 says, "But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. And behold, Michael, one of the chief princesses, came to help me. For I had been left alone there with the king of Persia. And now I have come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the latter days. For the vision refers to many days yet to come." There's a divine delay there. There was a struggle. The angel was unable to come to Daniel. There was a battle. It took like 21 days. A divine delay in prayer and in circumstance. And then just a last example that we may be very familiar with was a delay. And this is in Numbers chapter 22. And this is when Balaam was riding his DUV, his donkey utility vehicle. And he wasn't listening to God. He was going to do his own thing. And it says that while he was on his journey to go do his own thing, to prophesy against the people of Israel, in chapter 22 it says, "Then God's anger was aroused because he went, and the angel of the Lord took a stand in his way as an adversary against him. And he was riding on his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. And now the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and the donkey turned aside out of the way and went to the field." The donkey saw these angels with the sword that was going to kill Balaam. And God opened the donkey's eyes, and he saw this, and so he went off the road so that Balaam, and so the donkey wouldn't be killed. And then it says, "So Balaam struck the donkey." He hit his donkey to turn her back onto the road. And then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path between the vineyards by a wall. And again, he kept wanting to go forward, and the donkey stopped. And it says Balaam's foot was getting crushed against the wall. And it says that Balaam became enraged. He was angry. He was frustrated. He started to beat his donkey. "Go forward. What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" And then the donkey started talking back to him. The Lord did a miracle and allowed this creature to respond back to Balaam. And then the donkey says, What did I do to you? Why are you hitting me? And then in verse 29, Balaam says, Well, because you've abused me. I wish there was a sword in my hand, for right now I would kill you. So the donkey said to Balaam, Am I not your donkey, which you have ridden ever since I became yours to this day? I mean, I've been with you. I've been your donkey all these days. And did I ever act this way before? And then Balaam said, Well, no. And then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes to see what was in the road, why there was this delay. And sometimes it can be difficult. Delays are frustrating. They can be delays to prayer. They can be delays to visions and dreams and hopes and aspirations that we have. Sometimes it could just be a delay at the store, on the freeway, in our life. Very frustrating. Things happen and it gets discouraging sometimes. 3 things to remember when we're going through delays. 1 is just that delays are part of life. Number 2, we can ask ourselves, God, what are you doing? God, what are you wanting to do through this delay? And number 3 is ask myself, how am I responding in this delay? Regis, how are you responding right now in this delay? Am I acting like Balaam, getting all crazy, beating my donkey, angry, frustrated, not being a light? Or am I taking a moment to think, well, maybe there's a reason this is going on? Let me leave you with this verse. Galatians chapter 6, 9 and 10 says, Don't grow weary while doing good, for in due season, at the right time, when the delay is over, we shall reap if we do not lose heart. May God bless you tonight. May God bless you this weekend. Hopefully we'll see you for Worship Sunday. And thank you for taking the time to watch this tonight. Good night.